Whether you're navigating the dangerous streets of Far Rockaway like I did, or if you're leading sailors during a time of war, or you're just steering a business into operational excellence, resilience has always been the guiding principle. So my challenge for you all is to think about how you can apply resilience in your business, in your leadership, and in your life. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Tommy Walker, welcome to Rare Humans, because you are a rare human indeed.
Brother, it is a pleasure and an honor to be here. I appreciate you.
Very good. And so let's just jump right into, and what I would like to know, if you could talk about what key moments in your life led you from the military service to opening the mental bar.
You know, one of the things, honestly, it just starts with when I joined the military at 17 years old. And my parents had to sign me over to the military because I needed to escape my neighborhood. And after spending 10 years in the military, both active and reserve, you spend your time in the military under this assumption that when you get out, there's going to be all this opportunity for you.
Right.
Because you have college credits, you have the skill sets that it takes to be a professional. And unfortunately for me, it wasn't that easy. So when I got out of the military off of my first tour of active duty, I was actually homeless for a few months. And that was probably one of the toughest moments, because I was, originally I'm from New York City, and I'm here in California with nobody to lean on. And the people who I did lean on, I was living on a couch, on the floor, on an air mattress. And then from there, all of my stuff was on the sidewalk, and I was sleeping out of a car. And then, it was like what's next? Like, am I at the bottom because of, you have this thing like, did I make the right decision? So it's after the military, and then hopping into the corporate world, that's when things kind of started changing around for me.
Good. And so, if you could sort of describe first, you say you're from Queens. What was that environment like?
Growing up in Queens, New York, as a kid in the 80s and 90s, it was about that time during the crack epidemic.
Okay.
Right. And unfortunately, the neighborhood that we lived in, our crime and murder rate was actually higher than the national average. So when you look at that, based on the population, that means 1.5 persons or people were dying every single week. And as a kid in a small neighborhood like that, that's, you don't have that understanding. Like, I didn't know that data as a kid. I just knew if every corner I turned around, it was like a war zone. It was like you hear bullets flying, you hear people getting beat up, people are getting robbed. I had my fair share of getting robbed. And then you leave that to go into the military, and then 9/11 happens, and I spent, my time participating in Operation Enduring Freedom. Mm-hmm. And so it was no difference going from one chaotic scene to another chaotic scene. But then, you kind of get used to it. And it's unfortunate because as a culture, we have this thing where we get used to the neighborhoods that we come from. But when you look at other neighborhoods, they don't look like the neighborhoods that we come from.
Right. Oh, geez. And so, what is, if you could reflect back on what were your toughest obstacle you faced building your business, and how exactly, what approach did you take to overcome it?
People talk about finances all the time, and I don't want, people to think that finances is always the number one obstacle. But for us, we bootstrapped all of our businesses. We've never got any investments from anybody. So financing was the biggest obstacle. And the reason being is because we put a product in an underserved community, and, investors didn't believe in it. So we had to show consistency by putting a great product, a premium product with great service and a great experience, and doing that every single day. So to prove basically that, it doesn't matter where you are. People talk about location. It doesn't matter where you are. It's all about the product that you're offering. And so the biggest obstacle for us was the financing, and then proving people wrong that you can't look at a community and say they don't deserve it.
Right. And so talk about how you made the Mental Bar a unique hub, because it is definitely a community hub, a hub for diverse cultures and diverse ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. It really comes down to our menu. Our menu is as diverse as our community. We didn't ask for permission. We wanted to be our authentic selves, and we wanted to create a third space where people felt like they could be their authentic self.
Yeah.
So if they're coming in, if they're studying, if they're having meetings, if they're reading books, if they're writing, no matter what it is, it's just creating that space for them to feel comfortable enough to be able to do that. And for us, that was the foundation of it. It just so happens we sell coffee, and it just so happens that we want to be really good at selling coffee.
Right. And so, the Mental Bar is this community hub. I happen to be familiar with that area, and the only coffee house within miles and miles of your location, it was a Starbucks.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But the Starbucks, they disallowed people to sit inside the Starbucks, or even right outside the Starbucks. You can only go through the drive-through, or you come and get your stuff and get out.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that Starbucks in particular that we're talking about was the only coffee in the district for a long time.
Mm.
And then we built the first coffee shop, in that neighborhood, our original coffee shop. And then the one that we have now, which is probably about 3 miles from it. At the end of the day, and I can't blame Starbucks for what they currently do, their business model, because they kind of set the trend for us. They started somewhere, it was great, they scaled it, and then they got away from it. I look at Starbucks now as the McDonald's of coffee, right? And we can never compare ourselves, but it does suck when you walk into a place that says we're here for the community.
Oh.
And the community is not allowed to sit down, use the bathroom. They're not allowed to, it goes back to, as a business, you are in that community to serve that community, not to just sell a product.
Right.
So if you're considering yourself a part of that community, how are you serving that community? And unfortunately, that particular location is really not doing a good job at serving the community.
Wow. So I like to think of it as in the community, but not of the community.
Exactly. For us, it's not about proximity, and it's not about, I got this location and I'm a part of the community because I'm in this location. No, being a part of the community is actually participating in the community.
Right.
Being at the events, giving back. So it's a full circle. The community take care of the business, and then the business take care of the community.
And so, what rare trait, and it's got to be a rare trait that drives your innovative drinks, like sexual chocolate with adaptogens.
Yeah, it's funny the way you say sexual chocolate. Everybody, whenever we say this is sexual chocolate, immediately, if you know, then you know.
Right.
And everybody goes back to that nostalgia.
You'd have to say it's kind of an awkward thing to say, in the context of but it does kind of get you when you have to say it.
Exactly. No, but the trait comes from just curiosity and going beyond what coffee typically means for most people. I got to be honest with you. When I first started drinking coffee, or even, my first experience with coffee, I thought it was for smart people. I thought coffee was for high IQs because, talking about Starbucks, when you walk into a Starbucks, your drink list is, let me get a caramel macchiato upside down, foam, this is. And I'm like, how do you even remember all that? So, and I drink my coffee straight black. So for us to think outside the box, be a little bit more curious, and then, pushing coffee beyond its normal boundaries and saying, how can coffee actually help? Because there is studies showing that coffee kind of helps in someone like drinking wine, right? It's just
Right.
a little bit a day, but we wanted to take it to the next thing, and that's making it functional.
And so describe, so there's this element of wellness in your cafe. So it's not just, when you go to Starbucks, there's nothing that indicates wellness about it, especially with the amount of sugar. But there's a huge emphasis on wellness. What is that about? And give me like some examples, for the drinks and things that makes it a wellness cafe.
Absolutely. It's actually twofold. So it's the part that you actually intake into your body, and then it's the environment. Again, being in the military, we know the different circumstances and situations that we were, a part of. And, we have these certain disciplines that we've learned in the military, and they've come into our civilian world. But one of the things that we have not been able to do was find some peace and relaxation or comfort when we transition. And it's still a big problem for a lot of veterans today when they transition. So the outer part of the wellness is creating a space that is calming, grounding, that makes you feel not so flighty or airy. And so when you walk into the space, immediately, you feel a sense of comfort, a sense of warmth, a sense of welcoming. So that's the outside wellness component. And the internal wellness, the things that you actually put into your body. My business partner, wife Danielle, and I traveled halfway around the world, and we seen how people use coffee as a ritual. And we wanted to create that same presence inside the cafe. So things like ginger, adding ginger to a drink, and the recipes we created with ginseng, and adding immunity and electrolytes to coffee, things you don't never hear when it comes to a coffee beverage.
And then some of the beverages, what is it? TCB?
Oh, the CBD.
CBD.
Yeah. Yep.
The CBDs. Tell me about like one or two of those drinks.
Yeah, so we have CBD tea, which we don't use CBD oil. It's actual real hemp plant inside the tea. So when you think about tea, we're not talking about Lipton instant tea. We're talking about loose leaf tea that's actually really good and healthy for you. And then the CBD component of it has, different benefits from our, problem sleeping, pain problems. A lot of us deal with chronic pain. And instead of reaching for that bottle of pills, we have these natural products that we could use. Because at the end of the day, all these medications and things that we're using is not for cures. It's about pain management. So we wanted to, give different opportunities for people to take to help with managing things. And again, it goes back to even the space helps you just manage dealing with everyday life and stress.
And so when you walk into space and you look over to the right, and there's a quote on the wall from Wu-Tang Clan. Tell me about that choice.
Yeah. So being from New York, and Danielle's from Los Angeles, I just have a love for hip hop and the whole culture, the music, the culture, and I really wanted hip hop to be a part of the cafe. And so, going back to what I was saying about how I thought coffee was for smart people, high IQs, let me reach out and kind of find out that the people that I listened to growing up, how did they reference coffee? Do they talk about coffee in their songs and things? And then we started, researching how many times a rapper would bring up coffee. And we were like, oh, it comes up a lot. And so we found the Wu-Tang. And when you listen to lyrics, you're like, how did they talk about espresso and the Jedi and the mind and it's like, it just made you fall in love with how the lyrics come together even more, and then how they twisted the coffee into it. So, and even when you walk in, we got some hip hop or some R&B playing or some smooth jazz or whatever, and at the same time, the quotes from Wu-Tang Clan, 3 6 Mafia, and actually we go
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson, him and Howard Schultz. So we do pay homage to Starbucks. But Magic, actually, the reason why we have him on the wall is because Magic was the reason Starbucks came into the neighborhoods, like the Starbucks that you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
So Magic told Howard Schultz, black people drink coffee too. And it was during the premiere of Waiting to Exhale. And when Waiting to Exhale came out in the 90s, and Magic brought Howard, which Howard Schultz is actually from Brooklyn. And so he grew up in the projects. So their relationship is how Starbucks came into all the neighborhoods.
Incredible. And so I every time I've come to the Mental Bar, now it is in the traditionally black part of San Diego, Southeast San Diego. And so you brought this, and black folks have a place to go. Yeah, I see college students in there doing their work and stuff. But I mean, there are people other than black that are in there all the time too. You see white people, you see Hispanic people. I mean, you are covering. I mean, you're providing something beyond just for the black neighborhood.
Absolutely. For us, it's about the community, right? And we're all a part of the community. So it just so happens, most of the people in the community look a certain way, but we got to be able to serve everybody. And at the end of the day, that's what good business is. Good business is serving a product consistently with a great experience, no matter what they look like. And that's what we built our foundation on.
And so the Mental Bar also sits in the Black Arts and Cultural District. I think I said that correctly. What bold choice kind of set you apart when reviving the Black Arts and Cultural District?
Again, is not waiting for permission or asking for permission or waiting for things to be perfect. We wanted the Mental Bar Cafe to be a stage for artists and for the culture to be able to be a voice at the same time, and a voice of both communication, healing, love, whatever it is that you wanted to get across. And we just really wanted to give a platform to these artists that felt like that they didn't have one.
Could you talk about that for a minute? Like the other community-based activities that happen there. You mentioned the artists, but what are all the other activities that go on at the Mental Bar?
I mean, everything from a few weeks ago, we just had a local artist. She's a fashion designer, and she did a walk. So she designs dresses and suits, and she had her models walk the 9 blocks, is what we call the Black Culture District. And from the cafe, to the block club, we have karaoke nights. We have right now one of the world-renowned, Mr. Max Moses. He's actually selling his artwork inside the cafe. So, we're not talking about a hobby artists that no, these are artists that want to get paid for their skill sets. And if it's singing, if it's, drawing, whatever the case may be, we want to give them that opportunity to come out and touch the people with whatever that skill set is.
And so speaking of the artists in the event, could you share a time where an event at the Mental Bar actually sparked a rare life-changing moment for someone, whether it be artists or anyone?
Honestly, it happens almost all the time. It's a crazy thing. It brings us to tears almost every single day. It doesn't get old. Artists that have never put their artwork out and it gets sold. We actually, Ashley is her name. She was one of the female artists that we had up a few months ago. Never been on the wall, and 2 of her pieces sold. And just to have that confidence now, knowing, because at the end of the day, you create art, but you don't create it for someone else. You create it as a communication or just a feeling, a reflection, right? And then for someone else to pick that up and recognize it and then put money behind it.
Yeah.
That does something different. It gives you that confidence that you needed as an artist. So from the artist selling artwork for the first time to just customers coming in and saying the experience that they received and what they were going through that day, just really turned their things around for them. Like, we get people that come in and we have a scrapbook of things that people bring in and say, hey, this is just a thank you postcards,
Wow.
to a young man, little Ishmael, 10 years old, doing a drawing of his experience at the mental bar.
Incredible. And so, uh, what unique quality does your partnership with Danielle, like, it's fueled the mental bar's impact? You know, what is it with that connection?
Other than being my wife and life partner for the last 20, we just celebrated 20 years.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that.
Wait a minute. That was yesterday, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You know, we are like a yin and yang. Like I have the big bold ideas. I'm the visionary, big picture, and Danielle is the integrator. She implements. She builds the systems, and she makes sure everybody's following the systems, and that really helps out. And then our combined belief system. You know, our values are resilience, forgiveness, and synergy. So between us having that belief system in our own ecosystem, and then bringing that ecosystem to our team members is honestly what helped us as we worked together for the last 6.5 years as entrepreneurs together.
And so let's talk about the floods. This floods happened in January of 2024.
Yeah.
One of the most devastating floods. But it impacted Southeast San Diego particularly hard.
Yes.
What singular lesson from challenges like that flood defines your resilience? Because you actually did something special as a café during that time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for us, it wasn't about saving the business, right? Back to, you can't be in, it's not about proximity. It's about participating. And so as we seen a car floating literally right past us, it was like, wow, this is happening right now. Like what, in the moment, you're like, all right, what do we do? So it wasn't about the business, it was about the people. So what can we do for the people? People are losing things, and we had access. We had Wi-Fi access, we had laptops. So we put out there, the city and the government were putting out resources and putting information out, but the people that were being affected didn't know anything about it because they lost everything. So how do you know what resources out there if you have no communication channels?
Right.
You don't have the internet no more. So we opened the shop up for people to come, hang out, get the information they needed. We had the city officials come in, people set up tables in front of the cafe, and do all the things to make sure people got the information that they needed to rebuild.
Wow, that's incredible. I appreciate it because I was here at the time and saw the devastation. I mean, just unreal, one of a kind of things. Like right across the street from your place is the trolley line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was so bad it shut down the trolley line.
They had to rebuild the tracks.
It took a bit of time.
Yeah. So imagine that too, as a community. So you're in an underserved community that's being affected by a natural disaster. We already have an issue in the community with transportation. Like people do not, they don't have cars, so they use that trolley line to get to work. So now they can't get to work, as fast or as often. And so the devastation was beyond the natural disaster. So now my means of transportation is down. Bosses don't care about that. How empathetic are they going to be? So, so when we were opening our doors to really help out, it was really not only to get the people the information, but to also give them opportunities to figure out what their next moves were, the opportunity to strategize. Because, when you're in it, you like, I don't know what to do. But then when you come out of it and you're around different people, all of a sudden your ideas, creativity is like, okay, I had this, I got this, and I can make this happen because there's people around me that actually are supporting me.
If you were to pick one trait that makes you a rare human, how should it inspire others, do you think?
I would say if I had to pick one trait, it would be that I look at everything like a bridge instead of a wall, and
Mm.
and my goal is to bridge communities and cultures, artists, entrepreneurs, no matter what. I want to bridge everyone together. And whenever obstacles look like a wall, I don't want you to feel like there's nothing else that you could do. No, be the bridge in your ecosystem. Be that one that brings everybody together. And if that avenue that you're bringing them together is coffee, by all means, double down on it.
Wow. So what does a legacy look like for a rare human like yourself? I mean, if you were to kind of communicate what your legacy would look like, how would you define yours?
I would have to define my legacy as building something that not only my granddaughter could be able to see and say, this is a part of my family, but also a community could say, this is ours. Like, these strangers from our neighborhood built something that was never here before, and it's ours, and it's going to live on far past my time on this earth.
Wow, that is something to end on. I tell you what, brother, I really appreciate you stopping by the studio here, because I know you're a busy person. You are moving. As a matter of fact, the way I mentioned busy, I'd like to actually have you talk about why you're busy, because maybe not everyone knows that you have the cafe, this physical location, but there's an extra arm off of the cafe.
Absolutely.
You have other aspects of the overall coffee business.
Yeah, so you have the Mental Bar Cafe, and then from that is the Mental Bar Coffee Company. And what we've done is created partnerships with hotels, bars, restaurants, businesses. And, we come in and we curate coffee programs, and we supply coffee and wellness beverages. And so we've gone beyond just a cafe to a beverage platform, is what I like to call it, and providing different wellness beverages like our workaholic cold brew to the modern achievers. So our coin now is modern coffee for the modern achievers.
I like that. and being in hotels, I mean, you are in probably the largest hotel in San Diego, the Marriott.
The Hyatt, yeah, the Manchester Grand Hyatt, downtown San Diego, which was the biggest before the Gaylord opened up. So
That's right.
Yeah, which the Gaylord is technically a resort, but but yeah, we service the Hyatt and two of their other properties, and then we also service a few well-known cafes that's here in San Diego, between the Grove, the Clubhouse, the Kitchen, things like that. Yeah, and a few little cool restaurants, really cool. We Le Coq, which is a French steakhouse out in La Jolla.
Oh man,
Yeah, so
fancy.
Yeah, if you're ever out there, you got to check them out. If you like speakeasies, the Captain Quarters in Pacific Beach, really nice place. And it's
Snooze.
And yeah, and if you like breakfast, Snooze AM Eatery. And there's one more, Naughty Barrel, and so everything from your sports bars to your high end restaurant. We've got some great coffee relationships that we're very proud of.
Wow. So if you do stay at the Hyatt Grand, then your coffee is in every single room.
Everyone's
more specific about the presence of your coffee. It's in every room.
That's correct. Yeah, at the Grand, it's in every room, both decaf and regular coffee. So actually, if you ever stay, please tag this episode. I want you to put a picture, put a comment, on this video. You stayed at the Manchester and you're drinking a cup of the Mental Bar coffee.
Wow, too cool. Thank you again, brother, for coming and appearing on the show. I'm sure there's people out there that are inspired by your journey and what you're doing now for the community. And so it does make you a rare human indeed, because nobody else is doing it. Okay. And I appreciate you taking a chance, actually, to do that for the community.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you. And thank you for all the work that you're doing in the community and giving these platforms and outlets for people to express themselves. Because art is not just about canvas and pens. You know, as an artist yourself, man, you're great. So thank you.
All right, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys for tuning into another episode of Rare Humans, which is produced by NWB News Channel. So in order to see future episodes in this episode, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button, and you'll be alerted when the episodes are released and hits the street. And so thank you, and we will see you next time.
Woo! That brother's good.
That boy good.